Welcome back. You're watching News Center, and we're focusing on the Prime Minister's meetings at the SCO summit with President Putin and Xi Jinping, the Chinese president. Let me go across to Ambassador Ashok Kanta at this point. Ambassador Kanta, what do you feel about Prime Minister's meeting with President Putin? Very, very symbolic. They spent almost 2 hours with each other, 55 minutes in a formal bilateral setting. And before that, President Putin waited for Prime Minister for 10 minutes to join him in his presidential limousine. Then they traveled, spoke in the car for about 40 minutes to that bilateral meeting venue. They spoke about the Ukraine war. They reviewed the bilateral relation, including energy ties. What do these pictures and the fact that the Prime Minister and the President spent 2 hours together indicate to you?
Both pictures that come out from Tianjin, as also what we know about the substance of the meeting, clearly underline the fact that India attaches a very high degree of importance to relations with Russia. And this is a relationship which has been strategic in character, very durable, and India is not going to, change nature of engagement with Russia in different fields, whether it be procurement of oil from Russia or defense ties or engagement in other areas under duress. I think this message has come across loud and clear. Now, the fact that two leaders spent so much time together, they not only had a long meeting, but they traveled also in the same car, conveys its own message. And more than meeting with President Xi, where I think there was a degree of caution on our part that we don't want that meeting to be sort of misconstrued as India and China coming together to sort of counter USA. In case of Russia, it has been a durable, long-standing relationship, and we had no hesitation in projecting that. At the same time, I would like to add that there doesn't seem to be any keenness to sort of project RIC kind of front, as some people are talking about, Russia, India, China coming together to sort of deal with USA.
Right.
I don't think India is in that kind of mindset.
All right. So India did not have the mindset to probably showcase or bring up an RIC grouping to rival what the United States is doing. Ambassador Sibbal, the question that a lot of people in the West were asking, and the Western media spent a lot of time discussing the meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Putin. Do you think this could lead to some sort of ceasefire in Ukraine, some sort of halt, some sort of pause? Because different US officials in their own ways are saying that you have to help the United States end the war in Ukraine.
No, I don't think it's that at all. Trump has moved away from the ceasefire demand to going straight for a peace agreement. This is
That's what I'm saying. Stop the war.
Pressure from Europe, who've been fixated on this, and even more pressure from Zelensky, and he has rejected all that, and has said, to my mind, quite sensibly, that ceasefires can be broken, but it's better to go in for a peace agreement straight away, which means you discuss the fundamental issues, which is NATO membership, security guarantees, and territorial issues. Europe is adamant that they will not yield on these questions unless they are party to the discussions. And Zelensky, of course, has outrightly rejected any territorial exchanges, and he wants NATO-like guarantees for himself. Now, in this situation, for India to be told that the road to peace lies through New Delhi is utterly ridiculous. Prime Minister, if you notice, even in his conversation with Putin, spoke about Ukraine and lauded the fact that efforts were being made to find a solution, and again underlined the need for a quick resolution in the interest of the global community. So we are wedded to forward movement and peace. Now, the interesting thing is that Putin is keeping us fully informed of his talks with Witkoff, his talks with Putin in Alaska. He briefed our national security advisor. He briefed our foreign minister, and now, he briefed our prime minister in detail, sitting in the car, making sure that nobody could eavesdrop on this conversation so that he could speak freely to our prime minister on this subject. Clearly, Putin feels that keeping India informed and through him the global South informed about the fundamentals of Putin's position, Russian position, is helpful. And given the fact that we have faith in each other, he thinks that India can play a positive role, not against Russian interests, but in favor of peace, in the manner in which Russia is defining what should be done in terms of moving forward towards a peaceful solution. So, to answer your question, no, I think it is not in our power to actually find a solution. Now, of course, Zelensky plays games, diplomatic games, before any meeting, including Eurovision. He will try and insert himself. So he spoke to our prime minister, gave him certain messages which he thought he could convey to Putin, which prime minister would have done. And we also want to keep our doors open to Zelensky. After all, we have diplomatic relations with that country. We have no quarrel with that country. We are not hostile to that country. And if
we have lots of students there as well.
In conveying messages, we are happy to do so.
All right, I'm going to come back to that. But Ambassador Kanta, do these pictures also indicate a fact? The fact that we spend so much time with Putin, the fact that we spend so much time with China, even though we said that this is not to be seen from a third country lens, but does this indicate that somehow there is now an understanding and an assumption that it's very difficult to sort out the relationship with US, keeping in mind their current demands?
Clearly, some recalibration is taking place, but I don't think Indian leadership has any illusion that our difficulties with the USA can be tackled through, pitching, So that's why Prime Minister made it very clear, and that also was a message which came across in media briefing given by Foreign Secretary. We would not like to create such an impression that India is seeking better relations with China because there are difficulties on the US front. I would like to point out that the process of improvement in relations, in fact, commenced in October last year when Prime Minister met with President Xi in Kazan, and that is unfolding. So it's not something which started happening only when tariffs were imposed by President Trump on India.
Okay, my final question now to Jonathan. Jonathan, when it comes to the economic relations and having a sustained supply of high rare earth magnets from China to India, resuming flights. Now, all these are some low-hanging fruits as far as the relationship is concerned. Do you have any sense as to when the flights between the two countries could start? The Foreign Secretary has said that it could happen in the next few weeks. On rare earth magnets, we believe that some consignments for light rare earth magnets are being released, but that's still happening very slowly. High rare earth magnets are not being released. What's your view on how China would slowly lift these restrictions?
Well, I think if you just look at how China has been dealing with the US, I think you see a model for how China is probably going to play its cards with India, and that is very slowly, very carefully, very cautiously. And I think it will be conditioned on all sorts of things. I think if there's any sense in Beijing that things are not going as well, that they're not getting from India what they expect to get from India, I think you can expect to see that progress slow and perhaps even reverse. So with rare earths, with the US, it has been a case of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. There have been there have been setbacks as the Trump and Xi relationship have gone up and down, and I think we can see that for India as well. I think with rare earths in particular as well, I think there's also a sense that China recognizes how powerful this card is, and I think it may have decided in certain cases to never really allow the flow to return. I think we're seeing that with the US for any minerals that may be especially useful for military applications. They're going to require a lot of paperwork, a lot of bureaucracy, and I think it's going to be very conditioned on all the other considerations that China has in mind, with national security at the top of that list.
Right. Thank you very much, Jonathan Cheng, Ambassador Kanta, Ambassador Sybil, for joining us on the program with some very important views on the SCO summit. With that, it's a wrap on this edition.